how do you get your patients to take control, or how do you help them along on that health journey when there's really a hurdle?
So this is a great question. One of the things, and I don't want my patients to think any less of me, but when we opened the med spa, we had a whole conversation about it. And aesthetics, ER was my background. So jumping from
Totally different.
ER to aesthetics, yes, is a completely different thing. Also, for anybody wanting to open a business, get a business coach, because that was hard going from a clinician to a business owner.
Oh, how did you change that mindset?
Welcome to Posture and Purpose, where both healing and community come together. Make sure to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Let's get into this episode with Dr. Michelle Carr-Frank.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Posture and Purpose. Today my guest is Christy Linehan, Doctor of Nurse Practitioner.
Nursing practice. Yes.
Nursing practice.
And a nurse practitioner.
And a nurse practitioner. This lady wears many hats, and that's why I have her on today. I'd like to learn about all the different things that she does in not only the healthcare community, but in our Lafayette community as a whole. So welcome. Thank you for being here. She's also the owner of Serenity Aesthetics. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, you said you had a lot of questions.
I do. I have a few questions.
Okay.
But I always like to know what started you on this journey to being a nurse practitioner.
Well, I guess the first part was being a nurse. My mom said, and I do remember this, in kindergarten, they asked, what did you want to be when you grew up? And my boys, who are 23 and one's about to be 21 right now, they're like, I don't know how you knew what you wanted to be in kindergarten. I was like, well, I was a girl. It's kind of a thing, nursing and teaching.
Yes.
So I wanted to be a nurse or a teacher. And then my mom went back to school. I think I was in 4th grade, and she went to nursing school.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And so I remember my grandparents lived in Mississippi, so we would study on the way, and I'd read the book or listen to the lectures, and so that's really cool.
So you learned it in 4th grade, basically.
Yeah, well, maybe. Some of it. I could not pronounce half the words, but back to that. So then I started working at UMC when it was UMC before Oshner took over. Loved working there, loved being a nurse, was in the ER, and then I was like, thought, okay, well, 5 years of good experience, maybe 10, I'll go back to NP school. A friend of mine wanted to go to NP school, and he did everything, because I was like not interested. I was making good money. I was happy. I was making money. I was good. He did everything for me because he really wanted to go, and he's a nurse practitioner now, but I got in and he didn't. So
you're kidding.
I think he even got my transcripts for me. That's how nonchalant I was about it. So
wow.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Gosh, poor guy.
I know, I felt bad.
Oh gosh.
But he's a nurse. He's fine. He's doing great.
He's doing great.
Yeah.
Good. And so do you think it was the influence of your mother that really made you want to be a nurse or guide you in healthcare?
Yeah. I don't know if this is still a thing, but candy stripers, do you remember that?
I do.
So UMC had a program when I was in high school, and it was a candy striper program. I will say this, I had gotten a car accident, and I was supposed to do community service as part of my not pay the ticket, get it off your insurance because it was your first one. And that was one of my community service things, and I was in the well baby nursery, and I got to rock the baby, and so of course I loved it.
That wasn't much of a punishment.
Yeah, it wasn't at all. But I continued with that, and I even had the little candy striper apron.
Oh gosh, I remember those well. I do. And being that you were guided so early, was there a defining moment that you said, okay, I'm on the right path? Like you said, you were very nonchalant about applying for
NP school. Yeah, I was so nonchalant. A defining moment, I think I had, and to this day, if you ever work with a resident, they're so, and a nursing student or a brand new, fresh out of school nurse, they're so positive and they want to change the world. I hate to say that we're jaded after a little bit of time, but we are. But they're so positive and they want to change the world, and they like to teach. The residents, especially the staff docs at UMC too, they were all, that was what they did. They taught. And so when it kind of transitioned from me being able to teach some of the residents some things too, oh, okay, I think I like this. So there was a teaching aspect, an autonomy aspect, and that was it's kind of when I guess no specific defining moment, but I remember that transition, you know?
Exactly. And how does your background as a nurse shape the way you practice being a nurse practitioner today? Of course, you have the experience behind you, but how would it overall shape what you have become in your practice?
It's kind of interesting. I've always been in the ER. I did a med surg stint for like 6 weeks. God bless all the med surg nurses.
God bless you all, yes.
I will never do that again. But I did. So ER was my background, and that mentality kind of sticks with you. And it's like, okay, well, as long as nobody dies, we got this, you know. And I can, if 100 people walk in, that would be great. But I also have to kind of temper that with. Okay, from a med spa experience, right? Now, if I'm doing some other things, that's different. But I have to temper it with, if you're coming to my med spa, I need you to be kind of chill and relaxed and enjoy the time and the space. So I don't want you to feel rushed.
Right, different environment.
Different environment, yeah.
And for those who are listening that do not fully understand, what is the difference between being a nurse and being a nurse practitioner? I know to you, you're like, isn't it obvious?
No, I get that question a lot.
But you might want to explain that.
Yeah. So there's different kinds of nurses, right? There's LPNs,
right.
There's RNs. There's RNs with an associate's degree and a bachelor's degree. So you have to have your bachelor's degree, RN with a bachelor's degree, to go to nurse practitioner school. And some states you have to have a doctorate to have your NP. I have mine, not because Louisiana requires it right now, but because I teach and UL kind of requires it. But that's another story. So,
you checked that box.
I checked that box, yes. But you have to have, so then you go back to school for 2 to 3 more years, depending on, how long you want to do it, how long it takes you, part-time, full-time. How many hours you want to take each semester. And you have your master's. So you have to have a master's at a minimum to be a nurse practitioner in this state. In some other states, it's a doctorate, like I said. The difference is a nurse practitioner can practice somewhat independently, and some states completely independently. There's what they call a CPA, or collaborative practice agreement, in the state of Louisiana. So the doc is supposed to be available if you have any questions, or might have a more complicated patient. And I hate to say this, but a lot of times I'll call somebody else, not him, because we have pretty much the pathway as far as aesthetics is concerned. So aesthetics and wellness, our pathway is very similar. So if it's anything, I'll call somebody who's maybe done it for a longer period of time.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And that person isn't just there to sign a piece of paper. The collaborative doctor.
They're not supposed to. Yeah, they're not supposed to be. But it depends. It depends on the personality of the person too. They have some great collaborative physicians who are truly collaborative, and we have some who
kind of by the sidelines.
Yeah, exactly.
And what do you find has been one of the biggest misconceptions about nurse practitioners out there?
Oh man. I think from a political standpoint, I've been to the Capitol several times, because one of the things that they've tried to do in the past was let us practice to our scope, the highest extent of our scope. And so, like I said, some collaborative physicians are great. Some are just, they signed a piece of paper, so. But what we hear is that, okay, well, you went to school online. How are you going to take care of a patient? And I don't think they understand the clinical aspect of it. So yes, some of the didactic work is online. A lot of times synchronous, some of it's asynchronous, but there's patient care involved. And so you're with your as a nurse practitioner student, the new minimum is 750 hours. That just went through probably last year. It's gone from 750 to 500. We always had a little bit above at UL, to back to 750 again, or 720, I can't So 750 hours of direct patient care, so you're in there with your preceptor, whether that be a nurse practitioner, a physician, or, and you're with the patient, right? Our psych NPs actually do some therapy hours with LCSWs too. So, it just kind of depends on which route you're going.
Sure.
But we have we're with the patients doing, increased level of care.
That makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah. So it's not just you got a piece of paper because you passed a test online,
Oh, right. Wish more people would understand that, but here's hoping.
Yeah.
And how does your scope of practice complement different specialties, medical doctors, chiropractors, other providers?
Sure. I had this conversation. I think chiropractors for sure, but also physical therapists.
Yes.
So I think that would be a great, at least symbiotic relationship, but it doesn't really happen. There would be I think there's one chiropractor in town who has a couple of nurse practitioners that he works with. But it can be so helpful. I have some physicians that I know, they're on their, they're ready to retire or they want to travel. I have one student who is probably going to take a job with a physician in town who is, he's got family, he's got things he wants to be able to do. He wants his clinic to be able to run, though. You still have to bring in income, right?
Sure.
It's not ready to retire, but he wants to do other things. And so the nurse practitioner can comfortably run the clinic without him being there per se, after getting trained obviously and all that. So and so that's one of the ways that a nurse practitioner could work. But I would say this from a chiropractic standpoint, physical therapy, I think nurses in general look at a more holistic vision of patients. And so wellness, I think that, I know it sounds like a cliche or a buzzword, but I've found it, not just the nurses or the nurse practitioners or chiropractors, my patients.
The patients.
They're like, okay, what can I do to not get to the point where I need to go to a cardiologist? What can I do to get to the point where I'm not going to suffer from osteoarthritis when I'm, in my 60s, and so I can't go do things that I would enjoy while I'm retired.
Preventative wellness.
Yes.
This is something chiropractors have been preaching since we've been practicing.
Yep.
And all of a sudden now it's
the buzzword, right?
It's the buzzword, wellness. But we've been providing that for years, and we just always not got, our due,
I would agree with that.
Respect, if you will. But that's changed because of the patients.
Yeah, they want it. They need it.
Yes. And so I've seen quite a bit of change in my time of practicing with that. So it's so good to be able to collaborate with someone like you and nurses and other providers, because the door's open now.
Yeah, it's
more
there.
so.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to the physicians, right? There are some old school ones who are still, but they're also opening up that door too. They're looking at the patient from a more holistic vision. I don't want my husband to get mad at me because but he'll tell you, like, he'll tell you what he is. He's an ER physician at heart, and that's what he's going to be. So
he should have come on the podcast too.
Well, maybe he can have it. Yeah,
my next guest.
Yeah.
But speaking about healthy lifestyle and healthy habits, what is one change that you wish your patients would make? If you could give one piece of advice, what would it be?
One change I wish my patients would make.
That are, we know to drink water, we know to exercise.
Yeah.
But something that's often overlooked, possibly.
I know exercise, and we say one of the things that I tell, 30 minutes of exercise, elevated heart rate, at least 3 to 5 times a week, really. 150 minutes, right, of exercise every week. We all know that. That's the thing. But I think the type of exercise. So cardio is great, right? It's healthy for your heart, all those things. But I think weight resistance and or resistance training, core training especially. I think if you get your core in shape, the rest of your body will follow. And I don't know that patients always listen to that, but it's so good for your back. It's just, there's so many things.
It's not necessarily easy. You have to make it a habit.
Not easy. No, yeah.
And so if it's not easy, Humans tend to put it off,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But we'll keep preaching.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can keep
I
reading.
certainly will.
Yeah.
So.
Uh,
And so, whenever you're in that situation, how do you get your patients to take control, or how do you help them along on that health journey when there's really a hurdle?
So this is a great question. One of the things, and I don't want my patients to think they need less of me, but when we opened the med spa, we had a whole conversation about it. And aesthetics, ER was my background. So jumping from
Totally different.
ER to aesthetics, yes, is a completely different thing. Also, for anybody wanting to open a business, get a business coach, because that was hard going from a clinician to a business owner.
Oh, how did you change that mindset?
It's still not really that much changed, but I have
It's
good,
embedded, but
I have good support people around me who are like, okay, no, you can't do that. Maybe you can do that, but we started truly doing like aesthetics, right? Botox, filler. We had massage. We always had massage. I thought that was important to always have massage.
Oh, sure.
And then we had facials and all the, the pretty things, right?
Right. The feel-good things.
The feel-good things, yeah. So, and I want my patients to feel good about themselves, because I think if you mentally and emotionally feel good about yourself, spiritually, you physically, you're better,
100%,
right?
yeah.
But then the GLP-1s came on the market.
Oh,
yeah.
true. Yes.
And we were a little resistant at first to do the compounding stuff, did a lot of research, lots and lots and lots of research. And we started about maybe 2.5 years ago doing GLP-1s, compounded GLP-1s, and seeing the difference, and these are patients who have struggled all their lives, and they've tried, inflammatory markers, just all kinds of things that contribute to obesity, other than the patient just not having a healthy diet or healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
Some who were just resistant, right? They exercise, they did all kinds of things. Started them on a GLP-1. I have patients and carefully, slowly titrated, because you don't want to lose a whole bunch of weight real fast, because it's a whole other thing. So then I'll be filling you up with filler, so
another episode.
Yeah. But seeing and hearing my patients say, I can go to Hobby Lobby and walk around and not get short of breath, and when they were younger, they used to decorate all the time. Now they help their kids, their grown kids decorate, show them, I can take a trip and I don't have to stop every, hour and a half because I have to use the bath, or hour because I have to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
That was like, oh my, I can do so much more good,
Mm-hmm. That's rewarding.
life-changing good,
Absolutely.
So, and then of course we can talk about another podcast where we go down the peptide rabbit hole, because
Oh gosh, peptides. Yes, that has its own. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a beast.
A whole nother episode. Okay, so being that you were in healthcare,
Mm-hmm.
in the ER, and now in aesthetics,
Mm-hmm.
what do you wish that each patient that walked into your clinic understood?
Yeah, I think we've gotten, and it's not just the patients; it's the providers too. And I teach at UL, right?
Yes, I want to talk about that too. Yeah.
And so one of the things I do teach is almost algorithmic medicine, but I also preface that with, not everybody's going to respond the same way.
No.
So yeah, the large majority of the population will be responsive to this medication in this way, but not everybody will.
Not a cookbook.
I know. So you have a bunch of different options.
Sure. So they should know that walking in, whether it's feel good stuff or really transitional change.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know that
It
could be hard.
Yeah.
It could be difficult.
And what I did for, your friend might not be the same thing that I do for you, because
Exactly.
your body is different,
Right.
So.
Right. So, okay. So that's a good take home.
Uh-huh.
And being that you're in healthcare, how do
Mhm.
you protect yourself? How do you stay healthy and happy and on the go?
I probably should focus. Well, I will tell you this. The past year has been a lot of shedding some responsibilities, because I do have I have my 2 older kids who are in college, and I have my daughter who's 8, and so and then my niece who's with us a lot, and she just turned 10, and so
Full house.
Yes, we've been very, very busy, with family stuff. And so I had to learn to say no and let things go to make time for what really matters,
Sure.
and so my children, my husband, that all really matters to me. Not that my patients don't matter. They absolutely do. But at some point you can overextend yourself.
Yes.
And so
At the end of the day, you have to take care of yourself so you
Yes.
can take care of others as well.
exactly.
And with that being said, what do you find brings you the most fulfillment in life? I know, a lot of people say family, but is there something that really makes you feel fulfilled?
Oh man, that's hard. Yes, yeah. So seeing my family, yeah, obviously not. My kids know I love them. I want to see them succeed. I have plans with my boys on, building things and all those fun things. But seeing my students be successful, and
That's
if
good.
as a nurse practitioner, I'm a nurse practitioner. As an instructor, I can make a
Yeah.
huge difference because I'm instructing very good future nurse practitioners.
Sure.
So-
Sharing that information
Yeah,
and giving
yeah.
them an education. Tell us a little bit about what you do at UL.
So right now I'm the NP clinical coordinator. I tried graduate coordinator for a while and it just wasn't for me. One of those shedding, learning what you're good at
Pick
and
and
what to say
choose.
no to. Yeah. Pick and choose. And so I am the NP clinical coordinator now, and I appreciate that position so much more. I love to teach. I love learning different things. We're doing a podcast right now. I kind of started doing a podcast for my students. It's asynchronous.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. Tell us about
Yeah.
it. I just think that is such a great idea.
It's called Clinical Case Files. So I put it on Spotify. I don't make my students do the Spotify thing, because I don't want to mix commercial, but I do have a version of it for them that they can listen to, and basically take a specific disease process and have I've been listening to too much true crime probably. And
Same.
so exactly. Who doesn't love true crime?
Right.
And so we do like a true crime podcast with a disease process and kind of go through the whole thing.
I just love that idea. I would have learned so much through something like that.
And yeah, you and I would. My husband is like, no, they just need to read the book. I'm like, yeah, this is
Oh,
why you don't
gosh.
teach.
Everybody learns differently.
Yeah.
And why, or how do you stay connected to your why, your students, those things that fulfill you on a hard day, on a bad day, whenever there's a challenging patient? Let's put it that way.
How do I stay connected? Well, my students have all, they're really good about reaching back out. I still have students from when I first started teaching in undergrad, because I started in undergrad. Some of them, I taught them in undergrad, they're now in grad school, so it's nice to see that little go full circle. But they reach out, they ask me questions, but they also tell, I'll hear them say, you help me so much, and it's just knowing, even though I'm having a bad day, which they happen. They're not that many. Because I always say if you wake up topside, it's probably a pretty good day.
Exactly. Be
but-
thankful for that.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. But no, just hearing from the students and making sure, and I encourage feedback. I want to know, if it was helpful. Was it helpful? I was asked to, of course. How are boards? Did we prepare you? And they're like, oh yeah.
So they give you some good feedback.
Yeah, exactly. But having that feedback, and I have a couple emails and stuff that students send, text messages here and there. Thank you, for
Oh, that's
everything.
wonderful.
Yeah, I know.
That's good to know. And being that you're teaching students in Louisiana, in Lafayette,
Mhm.
in Cajun country,
Okay.
all this good food
Oh, yeah.
and lots of great drinks and parties.
Uh-huh.
How does that affect our community? How have you seen it affect our community?
The food is an issue. I will say that, and I love I'm the world's worst. I love chocolate. That's
Oh.
my guilty pleasure. If I could live on chocolate,
You would.
I would absolutely. So that and a peanut butter and jelly shake from Planet Nutrition.
Oh,
Yeah.
shout out.
Yeah,
Nutrition.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why that's one of my go-tos on bees for that with B12 and ginseng. But sorry.
I love it.
But yeah, the food it's learning to teach the patient, like, you don't have to not eat the food, but you have to learn how to eat it in moderation. And
it's
that's
hard to do here.
It's hard because everything revolves around the kitchen, and family affairs, or even holiday parties. I always find everybody kind of migrates towards the kitchen. We're always snacking and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't want to deprive anybody of anything. But you have to learn moderation, and I guess that's one of the popular things about the GLP-1s is you have to do it in moderation because you don't have the envie for it. So.
Exactly. What about alcohol? I know we like to party here in Louisiana.
Yeah.
How have you seen it affect our community?
I think I do think the wellness mindset has affected it in a positive way, where people aren't drinking as much. Mardi Gras season's coming up, so I know that'll probably be...
That doesn't count in the next few weeks.
Mardi Gras alcohol and Christmas calories don't count, right?
Right.
But I have found that less and less, even the younger generation too, they aren't drinking quite as much as maybe what you and I did in our younger years. Maybe you. Yeah. Actually, but honestly, I didn't drink until I was like 26.
That's good.
Yeah. I never drank anything until I was 26, and Malibu and pineapple, because I always want to pretend like I'm on a beach. That being said, and not every day, but if I'm going to drink, that's probably where it's going.
That's the choice.
But yeah, I think that I have seen a positive change. But I will say this: one of the other benefits of the GLP-1s is that they cut cravings. So if you're a drinker, they also help with that. So that's kind of cool too.
Wow, that is good. Hopefully that helps a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
That didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, with all these changes and everything you've seen at the university, ER, at your Serenity Aesthetics clinic, what excites you the most about the future of healthcare? Not even just in Lafayette, but everywhere. What have you seen or?
I know people are probably going to think I'm crazy, but I like AI. I think it helps to individual. If you know what you're doing, I don't think you should start out with AI. I think you need to know the basics first, right?
Right.
But I do think it's going to help to, or maybe even machine learning. I don't know how, kind of a combination of both, but help to look at that patient from a more individualized perspective, and it can evaluate the labs and things like that. That's what excites me. I think, we've been able to isolate specific parts of the DNA that cause specific disease processes. We can maybe adjust that, modify. I know that sounds crazy.
No, it's very interesting, and it's happened so fast.
Yes.
We thought we knew ChatGPT. Oh my gosh, we know so much now. It has just exploded. It's in a short period of time.
Yeah.
All that information is out there. So I always wonder what other practitioners think about it all.
I think it's great. I think you always have to go back and check yourself, right? Just like when the early internet, I'm thinking about Google, when Google first, or it was Yahoo probably, that was bigger than Google at the time.
Yeah.
Before,
true.
Yeah. And you've got Encyclopedia Britannica on the internet, I was like, oh, that's cool.
We don't have to take a book off the shelf.
Yeah. But you do have to go back and check things and make sure they're accurate. But it's a very useful tool, and I think it helps in decision making sometimes too. Like, okay, here's what I have. Here's what I think. But is there any research out there new going on that we can kind of tap into to see if it'll help our patient?
Exactly. It all comes down to helping the patients.
Yeah.
And on that note, if there was one thing you could change about our current healthcare system, what would you, if you had a magic wand?
Do you really want me to? Oh, man. The way prior authorizations and insurance. Okay, gosh. Yeah, I see you roll your eyes.
Gosh, don't put that on.
I know they have a job to do, right? Everybody has a job to do. And at some point we have to talk about, we have to make a profit, whatever. Okay, that's it. I got it. I understand. You got to pay the employees. I get it. I own a business. I understand. But why can't we cover things that are preventative, and it'll keep your overall costs down in the long run
Exactly.
because your patients won't be seeing. I keep on picking on cardiology. Let me think of somebody else. Endocrinology.
There you go.
Yeah. Because they're healthier, right? And they prevented it from happening. I don't know
Right.
why that's such a hard concept for the powers that be to get into their head.
I don't know. That would be another, I think, episode too, because if you keep people sick longer, they need more care. So the powers that be make more money.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a vicious cycle.
It is, and I would like to, follow the money, right? They always say, I would like to follow the money one time, but that's another.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
There's no way to encapsulate this conversation into
No,
one question, right?
no. But yeah, the way preventive medicine is not covered, I think would be one of the things that I would, or you have to fight for it to be covered.
Sure.
I mean,
Sure. And what if someone came up to you and said, I'm really considering a career in healthcare? Would you discourage or encourage them?
I think I would have a deeper conversation about it, because I've had people tell me that and they're like, the money's good, it's stable. I'm like, okay, well, that's good, but there are other
That's a good reason. But
professions. What else, and if you're truly doing it because you want to care for people, you want to make them feel better, you want to make a difference in someone's life other than your own family, obviously, then yeah, I would encourage them, but I'd have to have a conversation first. It is stressful, though. I'd also preface that with be prepared, because you're gonna fight some battles that you didn't think you were gonna fight.
That's I like the way that you put that. It's so true, because you want to explain to them all the wonderful things, but there's good and bad days no matter what you do.
Oh yeah.
And you have to roll with the punches, and just the more you are prepared for those punches,
Yes.
the better, I guess.
Yeah, and you won't get burnt out so easy. I mean, gosh, we can talk about the turnover. It's not a lack of nurses, right? It's nurses who chose to leave the field. So
That's true. Well, how can our listeners find you and your great clinic?
Oh, yeah. I am in Youngsville. We're located in Youngsville, 1809 Shimon-Metairie Parkway. Make sure you put in Parkway, or it'll bring you to the other side of Ambassador, right across from Ascension High School. We're open Tuesday through Saturday, closed on Sunday and Monday, but we are open late on Wednesdays till 6 p.m.
Ooh,
And if
good.
you are interested, we have a website, www.serenitymedesthetics, that's a long thing, .com. And then we also have, you can call us, 337-573-6772.
Okay, that's wonderful. Any final thoughts that you'd like to leave with us today?
There's a lot of thoughts I'd like to leave you with, but I think take care of yourself. Even if the insurance won't cover the preventive medicine, if you need it, get it. And everybody needs it. It's preventive, right? And then also, I'm going to go back to the core. I mean, take care of your core. Your core will take care of you if you take care of it. So
Yes, I like that. And my final question is always, how do you maintain your posture while pursuing your purpose in life?
being confident about what you believe strongly in. So, obviously I've been to the Capitol a few times. I know we have a couple friends and foes probably there over specific things. But if you're confident in what you're fighting for, confidence makes a huge difference in how you present. So I think being confident is one of the huge things. And sometimes you need a confidence coach too. Who knows, like a life coach. So if you need that, take it.
Exactly.
I think sometimes our younger generation, they're scared to talk to people. And you know what you know. You're the expert. I think about one of my estheticians right now, and she's blossomed. We had a conversation this morning, and she's so well versed in everything we do at the spa, and she's so great at it. And I just saw her confidence. It's like over time, her confidence has just boosted, and so she's great. But I think having confidence is the big thing.
Okay. Okay, I love that answer. Okay, well, thank you everyone for listening to this episode. And until next time, sit up straight, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay adjusted.
Thanks for listening to the Posture and Purpose podcast with Dr. Michelle Carr-Frank. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Until next time.